I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this afternoon's agenda meeting where we'll review the action items that will be formally addressed next Tuesday evening, December 6th at 6 p.m. We're already in December.
Yes, sir. Hard to believe.
City Manager Bill Burrow will review those action items. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is Resolution R22-188, a resolution extending contracts with Arkansas Utility Protection Services, also known as ARCUPS, for utility line locating services, and our Utilities Director, Monty Ledbetter, will present that item.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All righty. Staff is requesting to extend a contract with our line locating services, Arkansas Utility, better known as ARCUPS. We've been working with ARCUPS since 2011, June of 2011, and they've done a good job. They know our system pretty well, and we communicate very well with them, so we recommend that we continue on with this contract. We've done about an average of 817 water locates a month this year, and 714 wastewater locate tickets per month. So for about a total so far of 15,312 locates throughout the city and throughout our area that we cover, that we serve. The price of the contract is $10.40 for water locates and $11.40 for water locates and $11.20 for wastewater locates. This year, they're adding to the contract a 10 cents per locate surcharge if the gas prices get over $3.83 per gallon. For that month, they'll charge us an extra 10 cents on the locates. And I guess that's all. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Yes, Director Garcia.
If it's over 383 in Hot Springs?
It's a benchmark. I'm assuming that's an average.
It's a rate that comes out every Thursday.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a rate that we're able to track and follow.
Is it tied to Opus?
It is.
And that's in the agreement, what it's tied to?
Yes.
Or I guess you review
Yes.
that, right?
Correct.
And we also receive that information at Fleet, so we're able to track it. If should we see one get implemented, we're able to go back and easily verify it.
Okay, that's good. And if a contractor's doing work in someone's yard, they can call and have these lines flagged like is going on with the AT&T work contractors that are doing work in various neighborhoods.
Yes, the majority of the locates that we're doing this day and time seems to be dealing with that. So we'll go out, and ARCUPS is called, and they go out and locate the lines. If the line is a large line, if it's over a 10-inch water line or sewer line, then they call us, and we come out and verify the marks to make sure. And we also make them pothole those lines and dig those up. What I mean by pothole, we make them dig it up and verify the depth and location before they start. So they're supposed to do that. So we've had a lot less problems since they've been doing that. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, the next item is Resolution R22-189, a resolution acknowledging the destruction of certain city records, and our City Clerk, Harmony Morrissey, will present.
Thank you. The destruction of these records was approved on November 15th with the passage of Ordinance number 10,112. The records are set to be destroyed tomorrow, so this will be the acknowledgement of that destruction. Pursuant to state law, the procedure for the destruction of district court records has an additional requirement of an affidavit that must be signed by both the county and the city. There will also be a second affidavit attached acknowledging the destruction of the remainder of the records.
Any questions?
Did you
Harmony?
get someone to witness this for you?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Director Trustee has agreed to be the witness.
He's a destructive one.
Very good, thank you.
Next, we have consider Resolution R22-190, a resolution amending Resolution Number 9257, approving a paratransit permit for Modified Mobile LLC. And again, Ms. Morrissey.
Thank you. On May 1st, 2018, the board passed Resolution 9257, which approved the paratransit permit for Modified Mobile LLC, which allowed him to license one vehicle under this permit. Mr. Smith has been operating since 2018 and now desires to increase his fleet and has requested approval of up to 5 vehicles to be licensed under his permit, which is permit number 43. The Transportation Advisory Committee will be conducting a public hearing this Thursday, December 1st, to review the request and make their recommendation. That will be included in your packet.
Very good. Any questions of Harmony on this item? Thank you.
Next, Resolution R22-191, a resolution approving the assignment of the franchise agreement for the operation of a specialty transit service by Hot Springs Carriage to the Circle Double D Carriage Company LLC. And again, Ms. Morrison.
Thank you. Okay, Bobby and Regina Stokes have been doing business as Hot Springs Carriage. They were first granted a specialty transit permit back in 2002 with the passage of Ordinance 5128. They have been in operation since that time, and their current franchise agreement expires December 31 of 2023. The Stokes recently entered into a contract to sell their carriage business to Mr. Eugene Dunn. Mr. Dunn plans to change the name to Circle Double D Carriage Company and is requesting the Board of Directors approve the assignment of the current Hot Springs Carriage franchise agreement to his new company, Circle Double D Carriage Company. Section 2 of the current franchise agreement does state that the franchise agreement may not be assigned without approval of the Board of Directors by resolution. So the proposed resolution is offered for this purpose. The resolution will approve the assignment and restate the franchise agreement terms, which do contain 2 minor modifications. That would be paragraph H, which includes the fare. Mr. Dunn wants to increase the fare. The current charges are currently $30 for the first 2 passengers and $5 for each additional passenger. He plans to charge $40 for the first 2 passengers and $10 for each additional adult passenger over the age of 15, $5 for each additional child passenger aged 3 to 14, and then no charge for children under 2. The only other change would be the date that the payment is due. The annual franchise fee is currently due on April 30th. The new agreement would make that due by January 31st, which puts it in alignment with the rest of the transportation permits. Happy to answer any questions about that.
Go ahead, Director Trustee.
Thank you. When did you say the current franchise expires? January of 23?
The current one will expire December 31, 2023, so it has essentially
I'm
1
sorry,
more
I
year.
thought you said January.
I might have, and if
Okay.
I did, I'm so sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. Thank you.
Does the new operator, does he have experience in this type of operation?
He has been close friends with the Stokes and has had family members work for the Stokes for Hot Springs Carriage. So, and he's also hired one of the Stokes family members to help run the business. So they're very much in alignment in how they plan to operate.
As Director Trustee pointed out, it does not extend the term of the franchise. It merely assigns it and restates it with some minor modifications. And so each of us will have a year to try this.
Well, and that was the point of my question. I thought she said January, and why would he just want to assign that and not extend the terms if he's going to purchase this? Thank you.
And they have.
Very good. Any further questions? Thank you.
Next, we have Resolution R22-192, a resolution authorizing the filing and acceptance of grant funding for the fiscal year 2023 Project Safe Neighborhoods through the U.S. Department of Justice, and our Assistant Chief of Police, Harvington, is here to present.
Thank you, sir. Yes, we are requesting that the board authorize us to apply for and accept the Project Safe Neighborhood Grant for the fiscal year of 2023. This grant is administered to the Department of Justice via the BJA. The grant has no fiscal impact upon the city as it is a non-matching grant. There's about $195,000 that's allocated for agencies of the Western District of Arkansas, which we would get a portion of. And the funding will cover overtime, equipment, training, and can cover other incidentals as well. And it is part of our overall violent crime reduction strategy. I would entertain any questions.
Any questions? Director Trustee?
Thank you. What do we currently receive under this grant?
Last year, we received approximately $27,500.
Okay.
I would anticipate this year, the funding is going to be a little bit more, so I would anticipate that we could receive anywhere between probably 35 and 50.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Resolution R22-193, a resolution declaring a certain structure located at 105 Logan Loop a nuisance and condemning same pursuant to Title 17 of the Hot Springs Code. And our Chief Building Official, Mike Scott, will present that item.
Thank you. We are requesting that the City of Hot Springs and directors propose condemnation for the purpose of demolishing and clearing a vacant structure at 105 Logan Loop. The structure was damaged by a fire of this year in May, and while one of the owners, Mr. Thomas Beebe, obtained a building permit on May 27th, photos dated October 5th, 2022 demonstrate that the condition of the structure has not changed. In other words, he got a permit and didn't do anything. The property is co-owned by brothers Thomas and Donnie Bovey. Both Roy and Thomas have been notified of these proceedings, and Roy is another brother who has power of attorney over the other brother. So it's convoluted, but everybody's been notified. And having allowed ample time to make repairs and due to the damage caused by that fire and having no reasonable alternative, the structure should be raised and removed.
Any questions of Mike? Director Trustee?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mike, you said
Yes, sir.
photos October 5th. Have we seen it since then?
Yeah, I was by there just like Monday.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nothing's changed. There's still a little bit of trash in the yard, but I mean, it is boarded up, so at least nobody can get in it. Also, this house has no foundation under it. It's plaster right down to the dirt.
Oh, my gosh.
So you can see there's nothing underneath that. It's just,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Director Garcia?
In our packets, will we have information reflecting estimated cost and a tear down schedule or demolition schedule?
well, we have to give a 30-day appeal period, and usually right after that, we tear them down. Unless there's some issue, the owner comes in and wants to try to work with us, then we do work with them. But the cost, the average cost that it's been so far this year is like $4,900 a house. This one won't be that much. It's smaller.
Smaller.
And it's not a house close by, so it's going to be pretty easy to get to it. This one here will probably be less than 3,000 or less. Yeah, because we tore down one similar to this just last week, and it was actually a little bit bigger. I think it's a little harder, and it was $3,000. So.
Mike, I know Director Garcia has asked that before, that we add that into the packet, and one of the conversations we had was those things vary so much. We kind of have an average,
Yeah.
but depending on what they run into, whether it's got some type of asbestos flooring or siding or shingle, it's difficult to come up with that number, but we can put a guesstimation in there, but it's going to be a
Yeah.
pretty wide
Range.
range.
Yeah, Bill's right. I mean, because it depends on too. Is is it a brick house? Then that's more expensive because debris is by weight, and so there's just a lot of variables in there. And I mean, I can give you pretty good guesstimates, but I mean, it's like he said, it could vary. Somebody could see something that I don't. One of the demo contractors. So
Yeah, we're just trying to watch, what we have budgeted.
Yes, ma'am.
And if
Yeah.
how many we can get cleaned up. And I didn't know if we'd had any estimates come back for the old field house. Because that one, I know, it's
We
gonna be more than
did,
3,000.
we did it, and it well exceeded anything we had close to being budgeted. Lance, if you want to talk just a minute on those two that came in. Matter of fact, I rejected those bids today. We're going to have to go back out and potentially break out between the abatement, which needs to happen first, and then the destruction, so.
Certainly. Two bids received. Lowest bid came in at just under $80,000. That was only for the demolition. That was not for any abatement or remediation, which is going to be probably the lion's share of that particular project. The other bid, I think, came in at about,
it was like 140,000 or something.
Yeah.
Twice as high as the other one.
demolition only. So what we're gonna do is put that out to bid for an abatement, remediation contract. One bid, the following bid would be for the demolition. So that's where we're moving on that particular project, but obviously it's a much larger structure. So we're kind of trying to be mindful and use the money as best we can, but be efficient in it.
Will we be able to have it, secured, going, I mean, we've already had some cold nights, but just so it's safe where there's no transients,
We can
in
make sure
there.
that it's boarded up.
It
Yeah.
is currently boarded up.
Everything's been secured,
Yeah,
okay,
Been boarded up and secured, so we are
Thank
checking
you.
to make sure that it stays that way, yes, ma'am.
yeah, until we can get it
Yeah.
done. Okay, that's reassuring, thank you very much.
And of note, also, anything with that particular property at 228 Orange, those pricings, those would come back to the board for any of those contracts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions of Mike on this?
Next, we have Resolution R22-194, a resolution declaring a certain structure located at 212 Cypress Street a nuisance and condemning same pursuant to Title 17 of the Hot Springs Code. And again, Mr. Scott.
We propose condemnation for the purpose of demolishing and clearing the vacant structure at 212 Cypress Street. This house, we have a long record of it, issues with it. We've had the owner in court several times. He's, he's cleaned it up and then brought in more stuff. If you've been by there, it's a sight to see. It looks like a dump site. Mr. Wagner currently is telling us he has sold the property, but it's not registered at the county. But the new owner he sold it to, supposedly we have contacted him and told him of these proceedings also. We have notification, proof of notification from both of those. Photos dated October 11th, 2022 and October 19th, 22 demonstrate the building maintenance has been neglected to the point that the interior of the structure has limited access, missing portions of the roof and soffit and fascia, and the exterior premise is full of debris, which limits means of egress from the house. Therefore, the building official deems it unsafe. Being notified of these proceedings, the owner, Mr. John Wagner, sold the property to Mr. Hank Sokowski, who has stated that he intends to move into the house once Mr. Wagner clears the property. Mr. Sokowski has been notified of these proceedings as well. The house is unlivable in its current state. It does not have power, water, and has not had power, water, or anything for a year or more. It had a fire. It's got damage in the roof, so we can't imagine that he truly sold this property to somebody that thinks they can move in. But anyway, it's
Any questions of Mike on this item? Thank you.
Next, we have your only ordinance of the evening, and it's Ordinance O2250, an ordinance approving manufactured home overlay for Lot 1, Block 3, Euclid Heights subdivision, and for other purposes. And Rick Stoddard will handle this item.
Thank you. This is a request to establish manufactured home overlay zoning for Lot 1 in Block 3 of Euclid Heights subdivision. We've given it an approximate address of 402 Raymond Street. The property is currently vacant. It's adjacent to existing manufactured home overlay zoning across Raymond Street. Again, this is asking to extend that overlay district zoning to this particular property. Multiple manufactured homes exist in the neighborhood and in close proximity to this site. Planning Commission held a public hearing regarding this request on Thursday, November the 11th, where they rendered a unanimous recommendation for approval to the board to accept this application and actually rezone the property to manufactured home overlay.
Any questions of Rick on this item? Director
Mayor.
Garcia?
Thank you. Not specific to this, well, with the manufacturer overlay, I've had questions when our code about manufactured includes modular homes and they're treated the same. And as we update our codes, we hope we are looking at that. I've had questions about the modular homes. A lot of them they do send them in sections and they're built at the lot, and they look just like, you know, one that's all built there. And there's questions about the coding, and as we're looking for housing for a more helping people in getting the workforce housing, that this would allow looking at a lot of areas that could have these type homes.
Sure.
And is that something that they'll
Yes,
consider, and
ma'am.
maybe splitting those out?
That is something that will be looked at. I think, and I lean on Mike about that, I think the code currently allows for a true modular home that's put on a foundation to really be placed anywhere a single-family home is.
Modular home is a stick-built home in a factory. It's inspected by a licensed inspector that's a third party in the factory as it's built. And prior to being start building, they submit a packet to my office, and we actually do a plan review on that and approve it before they start building. Because manufactured modular homes are built in Texas, Oklahoma, and the codes there are not the same here, so therefore we ask that we do plan review prior to them even starting the project, because one thing, our plumbing code's different and stuff. And so once approved, I give them, you know, written approval of that, and then they build it. And then it comes, and when it comes with a book, and actually from day one, a picture is done, the report from that third-party inspector, and then day two, and I mean, it's documented all the steps along the way, pictures of the wiring, the insulation, the plumbing, because once it gets here, a lot of it's covered up, we can't see it.
Right.
So that's why it has to do that. But you can place a modular home anywhere inside the city of Hot Springs.
That you can put a stick-built home.
That you can put a stick-built home. You sure
Okay.
can.
And some of them, I mean, in my previous career, I visited, we have customers that purchased the wood products, and they're prefab locations that they brought all the, and they did sections, and they built them and sent them, and then they were put together at the building site.
Yeah, I can show you several around town that you thought they were stick-built home on site, and they were not.
So-
When they're done with them, they have block foundations around them, so they look like they are stick-built homes, but they're built in a factory, and they come up in a few sections put together. You sure do.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
Yeah, and mobile homes are regulated by the federal government, and they come with a plate on them, and therefore we don't inspect those, because those are a federal deal that's already inspected in the factory too by somebody else, federal, over our head.
So they could put a modular home on any
They could, and
lot.
modular homes are more expensive than mobile homes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, yeah, they are.
But they, yes, ma'am, they could. They could put the modular home anywhere.
A
that you-
single-family.
that you
Okay,
do
well,
a
that's
single
good to
family
know,
home.
because I think there's been a misunderstanding of that.
Yeah, yeah, people get them confused.
Yeah.
And it's
But-
kind of confusing. Their names are similar.
Yes, well,
So-
even in the code, in this manufactured home section, it says and modular.
Yeah.
So, but that's good to know, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that was some people that's asked about it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Any further questions? Thank you, Rick.
Mayor, that completes your items for your December 6th meeting. I would like to inform the board that I will not be here next week for this particular meeting. Deputy City Manager Lance Spicer will be here with you. I'll see you December the 20th.
Very good. There being no further business, we are adjourned. Be safe. Thank you.